All right, Sleep Token folks, it's time. Yep, this is the really real one. We're going to strip it back to everything. You can trust me because I'm a British man with glasses on his head. Sleep Token are an incredible band for a number of reasons, but one of them is that you can interpret the lyrics in so many different ways, and you can theorize and create lore, which is exactly what we, fans of the band, people who identify with the music, have done. But just like I am at great pains to say on any video I do, and I do a bunch of Sleep Token videos, it is only my interpretation. And what we have to base this on is a very few press releases, a whole collection of games that have happened over a number of records where people have had to decipher stuff. There have been runes, there have been geographical locations. Sleep Token requires a certain investment in it in order to get the most out of it. Like Vessel says in Jaws, you just have to show me love. The more you dive into it, the more you can get out of it, because this body of work, as one or maybe two gentlemen have written, this is world-class songwriting. Because they care so much about this, we care so much about it. But regardless of what it means to each one of us individually, whether we talk about it on YouTube or not, there are only 6 actual interviews with Vessel or a representative of Vessel that exist. And also an AI voiced message from a gig in London in 2022. So I rather hope, as somebody who only got into this band about 12 weeks ago, and hi, welcome to Hyperfixation. So in order to first piece this together with the first time that we actually hear from Vessel, we have to go back to 2017. From Metal Hammer magazine on May 19th, 2017. Who and what the hell are Sleep Token? Luke Morton interviews a mysterious figure known as Vessel. The anonymous collective known as Sleep Token are premiering their new video for Calcutta. So where we are in the kind of history of Sleep Token at this point is, in 2016, Sleep Token released their first EP entitled One, which featured the songs Thread the Needle, Fields of Elation, and When the Bow Breaks. So what is the story behind Sleep Token? How we got here is as irrelevant as who we are. What matters is the music and the message. We are here to serve Sleep and project his message. So who is Sleep? How did an ancient deity find himself in the UK music scene? Well, he is everywhere at all times. Vessel encountered Sleep in a dream with promise of glory and magnificence if Vessel followed him. The UK is old. Centuries of lore lay buried here. This land has power, if only you knew how to use it. So what is the meaning behind the markings on your mask? It is an acronym of Sleep Token and reads as ST in ancient runes. Well, as you can see here, this is from one of the first photo shoots that Sleep Token did, and it's a very different mask to what we're used to today. Obviously, it was cut off at the mouth when Vessel performed, because it's going to be incredibly difficult to sing through that. There's been Death Eater masks, there's been all sorts of different masks over the evolution of Sleep Token from 2017 to now. So why do you all wish to remain anonymous? Well, Vessel says our identities are unimportant. Music is marketed on who is or isn't in a band. It's pushed, prodded, and molded into something it isn't. Vessel endeavors to keep the focus on his offerings. So even then, Vessel, the character, the man behind the mask, is talking about the Vessel as a separate being. There is already in this first ever interview a sense that there is a detachment between the man behind the mask and the character of Vessel. Do not worry, people will liken you to bands like Ghost. No, the only comparison that can be drawn with Ghost is our anonymity. Our verses are a token crafted to magnify and embody the multitude of emotion that writhes in our subconscious. Sonically, our voice is rooted in the resonation between the notes and your emotion. Take our hand. I mean, that is such a kind of interesting and grandiose. Our verses are a token crafted to magnify and embody the multitude of emotion that writhes in our subconscious. Interesting that from the off here, we're talking about the subconscious, something which is going to be such a prevalent factor in a lot of Sleep Token going on from this point in time. Your Facebook page proudly states nothing lasts forever. Is Sleep Token a temporary vehicle for the person known as Sleep? Life is fleeting, and this too shall pass. But for now, we praise him. one of the things possibly that gets lost in this this translation between the man behind the mask, the guy who sits at home, bloke, guitar, piano, mask, possibly in his pants. We all write our best songs in our pants. However you like to interpret the lyrics in a literal sense or not, when it's talking about very real relationships that the man behind the mask will have had with people, maybe a woman, maybe a man, maybe his mother, maybe religion, maybe addiction, anything that it could be. Regardless of what he is writing about his personal experience in terms of the lore, we get very early on. Sleep, the deity, is male. We praise him. It's something that's direct from the voice of Vessel that sometimes I think that maybe we forget. So what are your influences musically? As musicians, we are inspired by the human condition and a plethora of artists, but we are deeply moved by his words and continue to do our utmost to bring them to life. As followers, we are bound by a duty to combine our crafts to create music that conveys some of the most primal and powerful emotions. The song Calcutta is a bizarre mix of mainstream anthemic indie and tech metal. What on earth is going on there? This is so fucking good and pretty much sums up exactly where I am with all of Sleep Token in general. Life is dark, life is bright, life is ugly, life is beautiful. Don't get lost in genres. They'll only disorientate you. Music is for everyone. That's the fucking best. That will probably be forever how I kind of think about this band when people want to get into they're not metal or they're too metal or they're whatever. I don't care. I really like them. Do you think people will see Sleep Token as a gimmick and not pay attention to the music? Well, the standard concept of gimmickry is none of our concern, says Vessel. We are here to deliver a message. Touch people in their hearts and subconscious minds. Soon, regardless of cynicism, you will all be followers. And then you're making your live debut next month. What can we expect from Sleep Token in the live environment? Worship, which now, of course, is commonly known as, I've never been to a live gig, but the idea is that when you go to a live performance, that it is a form of worship. Songs or performances are offerings, but when you come together, it's worship. And arguably here, what is the most powerful thing that we must remember about Sleep Token in all of this? What lies in the future for Sleep Token? Nothing lasts forever. Well, that idea that nothing lasts forever, that death is always going to be one with us, that even in Arcadia, et in Arcadia ego, the memento mori, the reminder that even in Arcadia, there you are. Death will happen. The acceptance of the dark side. Not like a Jedi. Well, actually, yes, exactly like a Jedi. The acceptance that that dark side lives in all of us. And eventually, that this will all end. No matter what paradise you build for yourself, eventually, just like those ancient cities that he talks about in the second EP, they will crumble. Just like, in my opinion, the most powerful sentence you're ever going to learn. You are going to die. So, better get on with it, eh? So then a few months later, after the release of their second EP2, UK rock magazine Metal Hammer managed to catch up with Sleep Token again. So the end of July 2017, under the hot new band section and with that original mask there, Sleep Token give this interview with Metal Hammer under the brilliant title Stay Toke. The gimmick may be goofy, but Sleep Token's music is no laughing matter. Over the years, Metal Hammer has heard all manner of bizarre sonic coalitions and watched bands emerge from the deepest, weirdest corners of our scene. Yet mysterious collective Sleep Token are up there among the most unique and what the fuck propositions so far. Not only is their music a fairly unclassifiable fusion of brutal tech metal and atmospheric post-rock, but the band, driven by masked and cloaked frontman Vessel, claim to live in thrall to an ancient deity called Sleep. Okay. Much like ghosts and nameless ghouls, the remaining members of Sleep Token have chosen to remain anonymous in order to retain their shadowy presence, only agreeing to answer our questions via email. They go hand in hand, explains Vessel, when we ask if the band's sound and image are simply an exercise in gimmickry. Sleep Token serves to add a visual dimension to our journey. A world without texture isn't a world at all. The story goes that Vessel first encountered Sleep in a dream where he was promised glory and magnificence in return for his worship. He is the oldest god, a primal majesty that has endured the ages unperturbed by the morality of a flawed and chaotic human race, says the frontman, helpfully. He is everyone. He is you. There's a power in music that binds us all. Every note relates to another. He showed me a vision of a world filled with depth and texture. Okay, so their backstory is silly, but as far as the music's concerned, Sleep Token are an undeniably intriguing prospect, inhibiting a sparse world of heartbreaking beauty and intense heaviness, where stark and sometimes sinister skeletal soundscapes build to throbbing climaxes with mesmerizing effect. Recent single Calcutta, which premiered on Hammer's website, builds like a storm. Violent, tinged destruction erupting amid Vessel's ethereal and vulnerable Bon Iver-esque vocals. We sculpt, build and craft these sounds with an aim to deliver the emotional magnitude of his words, says Vessel. Destroy and rebuild over and over until what is left is what his followers shall hear. The influences come from the physical and emotionally charged world at large. Dreams are textural. So is music, and much like life, they bring both darkness and life, beauty and ugliness. It's our job to translate and convey those complexities as best we can. Each of these songs is an experience, but to find the real details, you'll have to explore them yourself. The music will ring out, and people will continue to follow, for that's what people do best. Follow. Stay with us, and we'll show you the whole world through his eyes. What a magnificent sight that is. I mean, fucking hell, Vess. It's incredibly heavy, and you can understand a little bit why early doors in Sleep Token people were like, this might be, are we in a cult? I think we might be in a cult. Am I accidentally in a cult? Are we in a cult? They're not. It's just a brilliant piece of musical theatre, all right? We jump ahead about a year to June 2018 now with the release of the single Jaws and the music video to accompany it. Speaking to Metal Hammer about Jaws, the anonymous leader known as him said, Jaws are the tools we have to rend apart, to show our concealed aggression, to take something once hidden and protected and burst it apart. You know no one until you've seen them destroy something. Interesting that Vessel is toying with covering himself with like a masculine cloak, the same as he's done with the deity so far. Which then brings us to... From Kerrang magazine, only a couple of months later, amped up Sleep Token, anonymous Brit metal cult, big on peering down the rabbit hole. I also think that this is the funniest ad there. If you can read this. Sleep Token, not keen on identity, huge on birthday cake. Excellent stuff. Sleep Token are a band shrouded in mystery. The London metalers' mix of high-tech riffs and dreamy soundscapes have earned them a good name for themselves since forming last year. But if you want to give them credit for it, you must do so to the masked, anonymous face of their enigmatic frontman, known only as him. Him declines to reveal specifics about the ancient deity the band worships, Sleep, but he's more forthcoming about his own artistic motivation. There exists a considerable body of art that explores the deeper recesses of the human mind, he explains. Sleep tokens serve as a means to explore this on an individual basis. The music is a representation of one individual's deepest and most fundamental emotions and desires. This is what people connect to. They see themselves in this individual, and the music becomes about them. Easygoing fare this isn't, but there's no denying it's pretty captivating. Sleep Token have played fewer than 10 times. They refer to their gigs as rituals, but they're already download alumni. The industrialish thrust of new single Jaws, meanwhile, continues this philosophical lyrical path. Our jaws are the tools we have to rend apart, Him explains. They show our concealed aggression and take something once hidden to burst it apart. You don't know someone until you've seen them destroy something. That's actually the quote from Metal Hammer from just a couple of months previously, but then it's incorporated with a slightly more explorational ending here. Jaws is an exploration of the frustration which accompanies the sense that someone close to you is hiding their true self. But while Jaws looks to expose the darkness that lies inside us, when it comes to the band's own identities, Sleep Token are steadfast in their belief that art comes before aesthetic. Art has become entangled with identity, Him says of the band's anonymity. The aim is to provide something people can engage with without being obstructed by the identity of its creator. The true identities behind Sleep Token are irrelevant. Our identity is represented through the art and music itself. Only about a month later, in UK rock magazine Rock Sound, another interview with Sleep Token just after Jaws, the single, obviously was on its promotional trail. Intense, penetrating and intoxicating, the most haunting music is sometimes the most beautiful. That's where Sleep Token come in. Anonymous and shrouded in mystery, though we can assume they're from the UK at least, the collective exists for one definitive reason. The ultimate goal is to engender a constructive emotional process within as many people as possible, leader Vessel explains. Simply the basic concept of understanding oneself better, understanding others better as a result. Through the act of worship, playing live, and conducting of rituals, which are shows to you and us, the project has gained passionate followers with an intense and different vibe. Intimate, gripping and punishing, both lyrically and musically, it's a powerful soundtrack that eschews genre. Sleep Token draw from the most profound experiences we have in life, and most crucially, where they intersect, says Vessel. We're all driven towards intimacy, away from death. We're all scared. We're all in love. To see this within yourself and then to see it reflected in others, this is the essence of worship. Though music is their primary tool, it seems that Sleep Token's main ambition is something much more human. We all desire to see the darkest, most profound aspects of ourselves reflected in the expression of others, Vessel adds. That's what tells us our existence is anything more than a meaningless sequence in an endless tangle of physical and chemical interactions. We're here to provide this expression so it may serve as a device with which people might understand themselves better. We're getting a lot of shadow work, Jungian kind of philosophical looks at the shadow self. If you embrace that, then maybe you might know yourself better. And frankly, from early doors here, this is what Vessel has been saying all the way through, 3-4 albums on from this point. The reminder that sleep is always going to be there. And then we fast forward over a year to November 2019, where Kerrang are reviewing Sleep Token's first album, Sundowning. Now, the left-hand side of this is they give it 4 out of 5, which is fantastic. I don't think that K system really works anymore. But what we're interested in is on the right-hand side here is Q&A with a servant, and where it says here, mouthpiece for Vessel. So it's a Q&A with somebody who is the voice of Vessel. Anyway, Sleep Token have become pretty big already without any details of the members' identities coming out. Why is there so much secrecy around the musicians in the band? And the answer is, it matters not who they are. It matters not what they say. Where did the name Vessel for your singer come from? Well, Vessel is no name. It is merely a descriptive term, one that may indeed be applied to us all. He is no different in this regard. The album is very eclectic, drawing upon various different styles that are not often found in rock. Where do these influences come from? Death, power, desire, anguish. Are you pleased that nobody has figured out the identities of the people behind the music yet? The entity is the music. There is nothing further to discover. Would you say there's an element of actual occult magic to Sleep Token? Is that part of the reason why you're so secretive, like Jimmy Page in the 70s? Well, such boasts are not his to make. Should a wild animal be considered secretive if it does not tell us its name? Oh, what a reply. You've supported baby metal at big shows as well as your own headlining gigs, which have sold out almost immediately. Does appearing live in front of people make it harder to stay anonymous? Does it simply prove the strength of what you're doing, in that the anonymity stands up to such things? The gathering of followers only further exemplifies the truth that the identity of the creators matters not to those who believe. Is Sleep Token a band or a larger entity with no beginning or end? Nothing lasts forever. Any final thoughts? Worship. So for that being the last kind of official interview with Sleep Token that we have pretty defined themes. It is about balance. It is about love and hate, anguish. The songs are not formed from particularly cohesive structures. Part of the reason, I guess, in essence, that Sleep Token are able to transcend genres is because the music doesn't come from genres. This is music in its performance sense, born of something much larger. Therefore, in itself, it doesn't really confine itself to any jurisdictions when it comes to musical genres. There is also an AI voice that read a message out at a gig in London 2022 Lafayette. And I'm going to read it rather than playing the AI voice. Or rather, I'm going to attempt to read it. Some time ago, I was given a message. It was a message that originated from one amongst you. Someone possessed by a strong desire to tell me something. The message read very simply, "You saved me." I've thought about this message a great deal since. It left me with the feeling that I've somehow been mistaken for somebody else. I did not save anyone. I do not believe I have the capacity to save anyone. All I have ever given anyone was a small window into the emotional waiting room of my mind. I do so whilst doing everything in my power to minimize my own vulnerability. In this way, I am selfish. I choose not to give what others can, and yet I am the benefactor of this thankful praise. I experience a great deal of pain in my life. However, I do not believe I have suffered as you have suffered. Perhaps that is another reason why we are here. At the very least, we have all suffered. I would also like to take this chance to tell you something. To love oneself is not the easy task we are sometimes told it is. We are all limited by something. We are all guilty of something. My own path towards a place of greater self-acceptance is paved with the art that I create. It is a path that I continue to stumble down. At the expense of everything else, I am nothing without this music. I am nothing without this mask. So in this sense, the message I received was true, but only in an inverse sense. The truth is, I did not save anybody. You saved me. I think that Sleep Token is one of the most fascinating bands I have ever experienced. The fact that we have been given so little to work off, but yet we can create our stories from lyrics, from music videos, from marketing, from runes. There is so much depth, and the more you give to it, the more you get back from it. But to stay on topic for a second, in the information that we've been given basically that there is a male deity that Vessel worships. He wishes to take the experience, the music, the art that he creates in order to let people see themselves better. Through ancient lore and Greek mythology and scientific algorithms, Sleep Token are managing to create a world that is making people smarter just by being interested in the band. But because of the vulnerability that the man behind the mask is able to show, maybe because of that anonymity, I think it's allowing a lot of other people to question their own vulnerabilities as well. What a time to be alive when Sleep Token are absolutely smashing it. So hopefully this helps a little bit for anybody who's new to Sleep Token who wanted to learn a little bit more about the context of the band. I'm sure I've missed a load of stuff, so I'm sure there will be a God of the gaps. People will fill the comment section with stuff that I've missed, or with contextual stuff that maybe helps people learn more about that, because that's exactly what we're about here. We just kind of really want to help people learn about Sleep Token. I'm only new to this, but I am all in. Obviously, if you want to like the video, share and subscribe, all that stuff, free range human, do what you want. And now, go and listen to the songs. Go and theorize. Go and sit there and stretch your lyrical and emotional and musical muscles and listen to all this stuff. And just fucking go all in on it. I swear, the more you give to Sleep Token, the more it gets, because this band changed my perspective on music. And I'm just a jaded old queen, and if they can do that for me, imagine what they can do for you.